Good morning. Thanks again for being here, and thanks again to Pérez and Dar for the invitation. Yesterday, I talked about Rhino in general. I made a presentation about the company, about McNeel, about our products, Rhino, Grasshopper, different markets, etc. And today I want to talk about what's new in the Rhino work in progress version. As you know, we always have our development process. In our development process, we always try to involve our customers as much as possible. So there is always a work in progress version. Users of the last version can try, give us feedback, test any new functionalities, etc. And currently, Rhino 6 users, they can go to our forum, to the Serengeti section, and download Rhino work in progress. There are many new things, but as I don't have much time today, I want to concentrate on the first two, on the new QuadRemesher and on a totally new modeling paradigm, which is SAP-D. But we've also improved a lot cycles. This is a real-time ray-trace renderer. There is Rhino VR for virtual reality, and this is not a final product. Rhino VR, in our case, is kind of a foundation, so we make it easier to third-party developers to port their VR solutions into Rhino. But you can do some things with some VR glasses. But there is Mindesk, there is Enscape, so we are talking with many partners that are porting their solutions into Rhino. We are also improving a lot the handle of meshes. There is a new mesh intersector, much more powerful, and also we can now detect if there are duplicate faces, etc. Because, well, we see, Rhino is a NURBS modeler, but we've seen many of our users working with meshes, both repairing meshes, editing, and preparing objects for FEA or CFD, etc. There is also gradient hatches, as you can see in this Rhino logo. Very nice for documentation or for illustration. We also support single-stroke fonts in case you use any laser cutter, for example. Now, with these single-stroke fonts, it will be continuous, the path of the tool. So it won't break at certain points. So if you want to mark or to create some nice plottings, this might be also very helpful. And also text field improvements. We have physically based materials. There is new layer book, new layout panel, etc. But let's go to the QuadRemesher. This is a totally new, it's a new algorithm. It's the same one you can find on SeedBrush, because we have an agreement with the guy there, with the developer of this. And it's really, really powerful. It creates quad dominant meshes from either existing meshes, could be triangulated meshes, or from surfaces, or from polysurfaces, or from SAP-D objects as well. And as you can see in these images, of course, we can set up different resolutions, depending if you want your model for 3D printing, or for FEA, or just for visualization. We can detect hard edges, so once you remesh the model, you are not going to lose the original shape. There is also a symmetry command, so that the mesh is much better organized if your object is symmetrical. And I don't have it here, but we can also, in the case we had some organic shapes, we can also add some kind of curves, and these curves will act as guidelines for the new mesh. So the mesh will follow the curves we put on top of a mesh. Actually, let me open my browser, but I think I need to. Not extend, but duplicate my screen. Okay. This is the Rhino forum, okay, discourse.mcneel.com. There are many different categories. If you go to the Serengeti one, this is where rhinos are grown in Africa. Okay, this is why we call this space Serengeti. And then from here you can download. You will find there was a pinned topic where you can. Okay, From here, you have the direct link to download a Rhino 7 work in progress. And there are different subsections. For example, there is the QuadRemesher 1. And there is some documentation here, okay, some examples. Tells you how it works. We improve it from version to version. There are videos. Yeah, you can see the difference. I mean, and maybe you won't be able to do FEA in Rhino, but at least the geometry you export from Rhino to an FEA or CFD software will be much better. And there was, it's a bit slow, okay. But I wanted to show you this thing with the lines. Well, as you see, there is also some videos explaining in detail option by option. And this is ready to try. And the next big thing we are doing in Rhino is sub-D modeling. This is a new object, new object type, new technology, and new user experience, because the way of modeling with sub-D is totally different than the way you model with surfaces. Rhino sub-D objects are high-precision spline surfaces. They can have creases, sharp or smooth corners, holes, etc. And with this technology, you can quickly model and edit more organic shapes that later you will be able to convert into NURBS. The resulting NURBS object, the VREP, will be a multi-patch surface, but good enough for manufacturing. And this is also included in the SDK. That means that third-party developers could enhance the use of sub-D further in their products. Imagine there is now a new plugin for jewelry, so they will be able to create on top of our sub-D objects some special functions, or in product design, whatever. And it's also available in Grasshopper. So in Grasshopper, you also have sub-D components. And as this is a totally new user experience, there are new creation and editing commands. There are sub-D primitives. We can create from a mesh or from a solid a sub-D object. We can we can select different faces of an object and edit them. We can subdivide locally. We can create holes. There is the bridge command. We can insert or remove creases, etc. At best, let's take a look at this video. Where, first of all, I'm starting with a box. This is a normal box. No, sorry, this is already a sub-D box. And now, as you can see, I can select different faces, drag them, also with edges or with vertex. The Gumball works with it. This is a mesh, okay? And now I'm converting it into a sub-D without the creases, so you can see the result now, much more smooth. This is kind of cat or dog, I don't know, depending if you like cats or dogs. I leave it to your imagination, and again, you can select any faces. Here, this is a set of lines, okay? These are only lines. So first of all, this is also a new command. I'm going to create a mesh from lines. So I select all the lines, and now this is a mesh object. And now I'm creating a sub-D object from this mesh. First, without corners, sorry. So you can see the result now. It's rounded at the corners. And now I'm going to repeat the operation. Sorry if it's a bit slow, but after drinking so much yesterday, I didn't drink much. Not as much as Nick. Now, it's the same, but with sharp edges. And we can merge edges if we like. Okay, now this would be a different face, a new face. And we can also remove faces. This is another object. This is a ring in this case. And you can see that even if I remove or not the crease, the sharp edges, I can later add them again or not and edit them. And in this case, I have already a sub-D object. In fact, these are 4 objects. Now I'm converting them into NURBS. You will see that the result is a multi-patch surface, because there is no other way to create those surfaces if it's not a patch surface. Always if we have more than 4 edges, we need patch, but it's G2 continuous. And now I'm just Boolean union the 4 parts, and I have a solid. And one more video. This, I like very much the introduction. And there was some music, but I don't think. In this case, first of all, this is also a new command where we create just lines, and from that lines a mesh. Now we extrude the mesh. From the mesh, we create a sub-D object, and now we start editing with the control points of the sub-D object. So you see it's a much faster way for organic shapes. And now we are applying a texture by UV mapping. You can see there is a hole in the banana. It's not because a monkey came, it's because of the image we use for texturing it. And yeah, you can try this already. I mean, I think we have enough for the, I mean, it's mature enough for, the math is there. We have already many creation and editing commands. Of course, we need to improve the interface with your feedback, but people are already using it in real projects. And the next new thing I wanted to talk about is Rhino Inside, and especially about Rhino Inside Revit, because I will show this to you now at best through the website, and about Rhino Compute. I show it to you directly from the website because then you will remember where to download it, okay? Let's see if I can do this a bit bigger. Okay. So you just need to go to rhino.com/inside. I put the EN there because, so that it shows in English, because otherwise by default it shows in the language of my browser, in Spanish, but it's available in different languages. And Rhino Inside, it works only in the Rhino work in progress and allows Rhino and Grasshopper to be embedded within other applications, such as Revit, AutoCAD, etc. Here in this GIF, animated GIF, we have an example in Revit. And it's free to try. Right now, we are experimenting with Illustrator, with Revit, with BricsCAD, CPython. There are some console apps based in Java, Excel, Unity, etc. But we are now talking, I mean, we are working together with Unreal and Unity. These are game engines, but now they are used a lot in architecture. With BricsCAD, next week there is a conference in Stockholm, and they will show this. There exists already a live link with ArchiCAD and Tekla, although they are not using Inside technology yet. They did it before Inside, but now they are putting it into Inside. And as for Revit, this is all code, okay? Because anyone can take this, a third-party application, and do the integration on his own, okay? And create his own installer, etc. But because Revit is so big in the AEC space, in this case, we've created ourselves an installer. So you don't need to be a programmer to use it. Actually, we are doing some workshops now. One type of workshop is just for users, where they will learn how to use Grasshopper and Revit together, even combined with Dynamo if they want. And another one for developers. And that workshop will show developers how to create their own components, okay? In this case, well, you can see in this screenshot here that we have a Rhino model, And just with this component in Grasshopper, it automatically shows the Rhino model inside Revit. This works for any kind of geometry in Rhino, and this is really live. Other examples. Here, for example, we are using Revit geometry as the input, okay? We want to create some surfaces there, but the input comes from the Revit model, from the edges of those walls. And now, once we've selected all the edges, Grasshopper creates the surface there. And now, if we edit the Revit elements, the Grasshopper surface adapts automatically. This is a very basic example, but shows you the power, because it's really bidirectional. So you can take input from Revit or from Rhino, and yeah, as you can see, we've created a new tab in Grasshopper with many Revit components, so that you can direct access from Rhino and Grasshopper to those components. This case is more about a freeform shape, which is pretty difficult to create in Revit, but you can see we are modifying it in Rhino just by dragging control points. It's a bit silly because no one is going to work this way, right? But just to show how it updates live in Revit. And as mentioned, the nice thing about this technology is that we just need that the third-party software is 64-bit, which today most of the softwares are 64-bit, and that software has a public and open SDK, because we need to. And we did this by now. Rhino was a program. Now Rhino 7 it's a DLL, so we can load Rhino on other softwares. There are more samples because, you can also do, for example, Python scripts, and they will also run both in Rhino and Revit at the same time. So it's not only about geometry, it's also about code. You can also use the Python editor, and it will reflect on Revit. And the other technology I wanted to talk about, it's compute. And actually, compute is Rhino inside a server. Okay? So with compute, it gives you control, it gives you access to the Rhino library, to the Rhino functionality via a REST API. So that means that you can do geometry calculations, you can access more than 2,400 Rhino common functions. And this could be interesting. For example, I think there are some examples here. Sorry. But this is just code, I think. Okay, then I will show you here. In this case, well, someone created a standalone application, and in that standalone application, he just needs to import the Rhino logo, fetch some cutters, so some things to cut it, call the Rhino Boolean difference command from the server, and set authorization and perform the operation. You could also create, for example, Rhino doesn't work on the browser, okay? But imagine you create a mobile app, and in that mobile app, you just need to do some intersections with curves, whatever, or create some meshes, so you could call the Rhino server, and and it will perform those operations. And the way we are going to license this will be per core per hour. I think it will be something like $0.05 per hour, per core, per minute, or per hour. I'm not sure now, but we did some calculations, and maybe using this technology, one core per year would cost you 500, 600 euros. And this is cool because you can create now any kind of application, being it a desktop application or a browser-based application, and have access to the Rhino functionality. And yeah, we've seen already some projects. This here, for example, let me show you something. I was talking to my dinner mate yesterday. Shapediver, it's a product configurator, and they are not using compute yet. They did it on their own, but now they own, I think, like 30 or 40 Rhino licenses they have in a server. So every person that gets into their system, if he works with the sliders, he's using one Rhino license, okay? With compute, we will make this much easier. They won't need to buy licenses. They will just need to pay as the users go per core, per hour, or per minute. Shapediver, what it does is you upload a Grasshopper definition, and then they create a web interface for it. The user doesn't have access to the definition. He doesn't see it, but he can play with the sliders. This is basic, but well, this is a table, and now I can edit the length or the height. The width, okay. And yeah, this is actually, now everything I did here is running one of the Rhino licenses they have on their pool. But with compute, the infrastructure will be much easier. They have very cool examples here. And well, the thing is that, well, you could configure this as much as you like, and even give you the total cost. For example, they are working for a company that creates like the slabs for these wood mobile homes, okay? And then you configure it, you put all the elements you need, and it gives you already the price, and you can order through the website. So for a manufacturer of anything, this is really cool because the user configures everything and orders directly from their website. And one more thing. Well, I mentioned yesterday Food for Rhino. This is Food for Rhino. From here you can search and download more than 500 apps. There is an advanced search where you can filter by app or resource, because there are always now here scripts and Grasshopper definitions available, so not only apps. And now you can also search by market, by, for example, marine. Okay. Express Marine, for example, and download from here. And someone asked me yesterday about learning Python. I think we've seen during these days that you are, some of you are programming in Rhino through Visual Basic or through Python. We've organized these 2 Python workshops in Barcelona, December 16, 17, or 18, 20. And here you can learn how to program in Python for Rhino and Grasshopper. We are replicating the same workshops in London, but then for that you need to visit simply Rhino UK. This is our London reseller. Sorry. And what else did I want to show? Okay, yeah. But there is also a very nice manual. Unluckily, there are no images here, but well, you can download the So this is also documented. If you like to learn on your own, you can search on Google and download the Python primer or the Visual Basics primer. Or there is also very nice primer by Raja Isa about essential mathematics for computational designers. And that's all from my side. If you have any questions, I will be here during the rest of the day. Or contact me through LinkedIn, send me an email, whatever. We are here to help. And in case I don't have the answer, I will put you straight with the responsible of the subject. Thank you for your...
Thank you, Carlos.